Hello there, YouTube friends! Thank you for joining me in another video. Your old pal Joe DeSanto here. Okay, in this video, as the title suggests, I want to just dive in a little bit to what I think AI, quote and unquote, can do for you in regards to your personal finances. It's not nothing, but in my opinion, at least as of right now, it really can't do your personal finances for you. And nor I don't think you would want it to be honest. But I'm sure some of you right now are being like, of course AI can do my finances. It's AI, man. Don't be an idiot. And I'm gonna rebut that essentially in this video. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, before my grand rebuttal, I'd like to ask you, if you like my content, to please do a like and subscribe. That helps me out. And I also want to mention that I'm going to be relaunching my flagship course. Used to be called Financial Independence Roadmap. Now it is called Personal Finance Mastery. It's a big update and big reorganization of my content, and of course the addition of new content. But this course is about understanding personal finance at a high level in everything that is involved in it. Of course, that includes tracking your finances with something like Quicken or some other software, but it also really includes an understanding of what personal finance is beyond just tracking your finances and knowing what you make and spend and doing a budget. Personal finance really does include that, but it also includes planning, making a plan for your future, much like a business makes a forward-looking projection. It includes investing and multiplying your money and seeing, having that incorporated into your plan and following along to see if that comes to fruition. It includes earning and understanding how you can improve your earning, why that's so important, and through the planning, to what degree you need to be improving it over time. And then finally, retaining your money, keeping your hard-earned money as much as you can. A lot of this involves tax planning, but of course, other things like optimization and so on. So I cover all of these 5 areas in the course and explain how they interlink. And, out the other side of the course, you become the business of you. You are the CFO of the business of you. And that is how you really get ahead. The course kind of describes taking your 6-figure salary or net worth to 7 figures as its, primary objective. Okay, so check that out, link below. But let's get into the AI thing. Okay, so first let me say my primary reason why AI can't do your finances for you, at least right now, but I don't really see in the foreseeable future. And when I say do it for you, I mean, can you go into chat and say, do my personal finances? Can you make an AI agent that does your personal finances? Whatever you think that means. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're going to talk strictly about the tracking, or the bookkeeping and understanding the data. In order to track your finances well and in an automated way, you need a direct link to your bank, and you need whatever it is you're using, let's say what your AI agent, for example, you need it to be able to automatically connect to your bank and download transactions and have that process be quick and easy, okay? There's no way you're going to build an AI agent or have chat do that or whatever. Now, is it possible? Of course it's possible. But why would you spend the time to go build out something like that when there's already software that does that? Does it really well. They have huge teams of people making sure that works all the time. Forget about the data and privacy, aspect, and actually how you would link your, chat to something like that. I mean, no average person's going to be able to do that. So you wouldn't bother to use an AI agent or chat or anything to do that. In my opinion, of course, to do your personal finance as well and stay on top of them, or to do them well in, over the time, you have to stay on top of it. You have to check in with them monthly. You have to download your transactions, categorize them, and build out a report so you can read what's happening and you can know, one, whether I have a plan or not, am I completely blowing it? or am I doing awesome? But two, if I have a plan, which you should, am I sticking to the plan? Is the plan coming to fruition in terms of my income, expenses, savings, growth, and so on? So, essentially I'm going to say personal finance software is your AI for your finances. Now, up until now, it's been linear, okay? As in, you tell it, go to the bank, download the transactions. The transactions come in. We have some rules. They categorize. Here's your report. Linear. It doesn't do analysis of your finances for you. That is something where AI can be helpful, and we're going to go over that. But that's going to get built into the software. So whether you use Quicken or use Monarch or, I don't know, YNAB, maybe YNAB, I'm sure all of them are going to have an AI component. So no need to go do an agent and reinvent the wheel here, okay? Now, where AI can help you and will help more in the future is the key to getting your finances and understanding them well is to have good data and have good categorization, essentially. Transactions come in. There's some bank information that comes through the transaction. We take that bank info, we identify what it is, we put it in the category, and then we end up, say, with a report, something like this, right? Of course, it looks a lot cooler in the new software, the new, modern software, we'll say, cleaner and whatever, but, this is what it used to look like. The biggest beef I have with softwares today is they try to automatically do that for you, but they fail at it. They don't do it well. They do it well maybe like 60, 70% of the time, unless you intervene and create rules for making that better. So you say to Quicken, for example, hey, you got it almost right, but I'm going to tweak your rules so that next time you get it right and it gets right going forward. The rules in Quicken in the classic version, which are this, it's always been a little not great. Like, they work about, even when you make them yourself, they work about 80% of the time. And that's one of my beefs and a beef of many. I'll say this with QuickBooks, which is more super professional business accounting, much more expensive than Quicken. The rules are awesome. And once you set them, you can forget them, like they're going to get it right. The question with AI is, can it take out that step for you and not have you to human intervention in that process to make it right? Not yet. I'll tell you what, not yet. I use Quicken, I use QuickBooks. Neither of them get it right on their own. And in fact, they get it wrong. And when they get it wrong, it mucks up your life like in a big way. So will we get to a better place with that? I'm sure we will, but it's not there right now. So you got to use the software and you got to do some human intervention on that data management, and categorization front, okay? However, you might be thinking like, Joe, I think you're an idiot here. Like you're talking, AI is, we're not going to need software. AI is going to do it. So I just have a couple little examples here of what chat could do. So I took my credit card statement and I said, take these transactions from a statement and categorize them, then build an expense report broken down by category. And it did it. Like, that it was cool, right? Pretty cool. Like, but here it did it wrong as far as my, opinion. Like this could be a matter of opinion, but it put all these things in subscription and SaaSes. Yes, they are subscriptions and SaaSes, but Disney Plus is really media. It's more media and entertainment. Investor Place is more investment expenses, investment managed expenses. It's not it's sure it's a subscription, but that's not how I view it. I view it as me spending money to learn about investing and educating myself, right? So, quick thing there, but it went down and it did some other categorizations, correct? My Spectrum Mobile, utilities and communications, sure. I would have made this mobile phone or internet. Insurance, sure, great. So not a bad job for sure, but so much hassle. Like I had to download the statement, put it in, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, that could all be automated. But it's like, yeah, but why would you build out that automation when it already basically exists in software? So I guess when I say AI can't do your finances, I'm sort of lying in that it can. It's just comes in the package of software, and software is going to have new layers of insight and knowledge on top of it via AI. But, much of what you could possibly do for yourself with AI in terms of commandeering your finances, it's already being done in software. So don't waste your time. Now, I'm going to move on to the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm trying to make my videos a little shorter because I just go on and on. And this is kind of like where AI, I feel like, comes into play. I mean, again, as I mentioned, it's like the software is linear AI. We've had it for a long time. It does these linear functions really great. AI is like, going from 2D living to 3D living. It might even be 4D, but I think 4D is yet to come. We're gonna say if it's gonna be 4D, it's gonna need time travel. Okay. And so it's like, okay, I can help you think about this and make decisions based on the data. So what I did is I took this report that I had given you or showed you originally, my report from the 90s here, took it in here and I said, take this annual profit and loss and give me insights onto the data as if you were a CFO. I think this is really cool, and AI certainly can do this great. I mean, and it's going to be even more awesome. But it's going to be added as a layer in here. It's going to be the CFO layer. And honestly, I learned about a new kind of thing called secure bags recently. And I talked to these guys, and they do more for businesses, but they do bookkeeping. And then they essentially have a layer, like a AI CFO layer, on top of the bookkeeping. So you connect your QuickBooks to them and you do the bookkeeping yourself, and then they help you get loans, and they have this CFO layer, or they even will take on the bookkeeping for you. A little plug for Secure Bags. I have nothing to do with them, but thought it was cool. Sorry, I'm gonna bring this back up here and cover all that. Okay. So let's go back to chat, and let's see what it said. I put it in. It says executive summary, net profit overall, 47.75, modest profit, but there's more to it than that. There's some good income there on the business side, healthy revenue with primary resilience on consulting, meaning most of the income was consulting. It suggested diversification, did some commentary, blah, blah, blah. Now, the thing is, like, all this is true, and it's kind of cool that it's, like, giving me these thoughts, but these thoughts aren't all exactly relevant. It's like, yeah, the payroll's the dominant expense, but I'm a single member corp, and the payroll's all my money that I have to process as payroll for tax purposes, right? Now, I could, of course, make my prompt better and be like, FYI, I'm independent consultant, S corp, the payroll's mine. I can keep building my prompt so that every time I come in and give it a new report, it knows all this kind of background information to make the information more relevant. And that's something I think that I would do, but mostly for fun, because in my case, I am a CFO, so I already know like what's important about this report and what's not. Of course, helping this chat possibly replace me eventually, but we'll see. But I think it's cool, and I think it's interesting, and I think that's probably like the most cool AI help aspect at this point. But I assume in all financial softwares is going to be the AI layer, and it's going to be, give me insights, help me understand the stuff, turn it into a dashboard, all that sort of stuff. The idea that I would have to come to chat right now and like put this in and do all this is just not worth the time. Of course, if I made an AI agent to do that, that would save some time, and maybe that's possible. Right now, that version is like I make visual dashboards from data for my clients with data out of QuickBooks, and it's another way to look at stuff. I'm sure AI will make that easier, and I'm sure that'll even get built into QuickBooks soon. So yeah, so those are some examples. The last thing I'll say is this, though. My biggest issue about having AI quote unquote do your finances is, one, AI gets stuff wrong all the time. So I'm sure that will change, and that will become less and less of an issue. But when you get the stuff wrong in finance, especially about your own life, It's not good. You know, bad data equals bad information equals bad decisions. So that's one thing. But the other thing is like, if you don't spend some time investing in your own personal financial life, and you keep this barrier between you and like the reality because you don't want to do it, you're not learning. You're not truly understanding your finances. The AI doesn't care if you run out of money or you don't, you know. Couldn't give a crap. You care. So it's important that you remain connected to your finances in some way and check in and do a little manual intervention for your own benefit. Do that. Take that time and do it for you on your own behalf, if you will, because the more you just try to automate it and forget about it, you're not really going to be that much better off, you know. So that's my last statement on why AI shouldn't do your finances for you. Of course, it can help, and hopefully it'll help in a way that makes you get a little bit further ahead, a little bit faster. I hope it even does that for me, but it does not act as a replacement for your own time and attention. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.